Minecraft modding is broken, it's complicated, outdated, gate-kept by code, and so I'm building Bloxal, the first AI tool that really lets anyone create Minecraft textures for mods with just a prompt. And hopefully one day fully automate Minecraft modding via prompt and AI. Getting to that end goal is a super far out long journey, and the first phase is completing the Minecraft style automated texture generation. After trying a bunch of systems, I've finally got it pretty close, but the journey is not nearly finished. There's a lot to do, especially legally, staying compliant with everything. This is going to be my first website really and product that I'm launching, so integrating Stripe and everything like that is going to be scary and intimidating. So you're gonna go along this journey with me. Hopefully we figure it all out together. Yeah, this is about, I think, 3, 4, 5 days in of building Bloxal, and so far what we have is I've finally figured out the right system to not only get the textures via prompt, but the way I extract the items. I actually figured out a way to cut down the cost of each prompt down by 16 times, which is really great, but figuring out the way to do that was a little bit tricky to be able to extract the textures in a way that would keep them high quality, and I think I've just about perfected the system. The only thing is right now it does take quite a bit of time to actually generate the textures, but then again, you're getting 16 textures generated with each prompt, so in theory you're saving a ton of time. You know, it's going to take you, what, a minute, 2 minutes to generate 16 item or block textures, when if you were doing this by yourself in something like Blockbench or something, and as you can see, it didn't work. So there's some sort of weird issue there. So I'm going to download this image and see what it actually did. So it generated a 3x3 image, which it tends to do sometimes. When it does that, it makes my life very difficult, as you can see here, but it doesn't happen all the time. Let's try another prompt. The goal is to make it so that that never happens, and I don't know whether to do it in my prompting, which I've already tried to do, or in my extraction system, which I feel like I've tried to do, but I just haven't perfected it. It's difficult because currently I'm generating images 1024 by 1024. And so to perfectly split that up, I figured out the best way to do it is to do 4x4 grid of items or block textures. And then you extract those because 4x4 is perfectly divided into 1024 to create a 16 by 16 perfect pixel image for each item. But when it does something like a 3x4 or a 3x3, then the extraction process becomes difficult because you're not dealing with perfect edges and extraction to get that perfect 16 by 16 Minecraft feel. Things get weird quick. But anyways, I think I can solve that, and hopefully we can together. And if you have any ideas, let me know. But I don't know why this isn't generating another image. Something's going on, or it's just taking forever. I don't know. Anyways, we'll come back to the item generation and I'll show you how that works in a second. But here we have the showcase. That's a glitch right there. There's a bug. We love bugs. Anyways, users can actually upload the items they generate if they want, under a free or restricted license. So if you have free textures that you don't really want, you can share them with the community, and it gives them access to use them in their own mods, totally free and monetizable as well. Then if you don't want to do that, you can still share them. You can restrict them. That way you still own the rights, and they can view it, but they can't download it. You still have the rights. Then we have the credits. You can buy credits for prompts, or you can go ahead and select a plan. So if you wanted to just sign up for free and just use prompt credits, you can do that. Or if you wanted to get some access to extra features, more textures per month, etc., then you can go ahead and buy a plan here. Still have to integrate that with Stripe. So never done that before. I want to also get PayPal on there, but we'll see how that goes. Here is the pricing cards. Pretty cool. We got a pretty functional setup going here. We also have an admin dashboard, which allows us to see our monthly revenue, users, manage them, manage the content on the site. So here, this is a glitched image we had there. So I'm just going to delete that, and that should be removed from the showcase. And we can go to the featured content right here and see what's on the site actually. So if we wanted to feature more items, we could, but we need to currently generate more. Anyways, let's head back to home and let's try and generate an item here. Let's try magic items again. And I really want to let you guys see what this looks like when it works, because it's really a great feeling. It's such a great feeling as a mod developer to be like, okay, I'm building a magic mod. I need a set of like different wands to choose from or something. And what you can do is then feed your own image into there and have it replicate something similar, or you can just type via prompt. And next thing you know, you have all these items to choose from. And what I'm going to show you in a second is once you generate the items, you can actually quickly click on them and bring them into an editor, erase some pixels, fix some coloring, whatever it is, and then you can continue on to export the item and then bring it into your code and into your mod. And so it really, really saves hours. Like, even for just one texture could potentially take you an hour to make. At least, honestly, I've spent longer than that. But something like this, at the very minimum, it gives you a quick base of something, an idea to start off with. It's like when you're writing an essay, all you need is that first sentence, and once you have that first sentence, next thing you know, or that first paragraph, you can finish the rest of the essay super easy, or you just enter that flow state. And so the goal with Bloxal is to first solve the texture generation via AI problem. Was listening to one of the windsurfer developer guys. Of course, this isn't working. It was working so good up until now. Let me guess, another different grid. So here we have a 4x4 grid, but it was just done in a weird way, and just the extraction process didn't quite get the images out good enough. So anyways, it's fine. Like here you at least have one or two textures, right, that you can then pull up. You can erase whatever it is you need to erase, and you can just hold like Alt and like copy the color and continue drawings. And you can like hold Alt, click a color, and go back to your pen brush. Makes it really simple just with keybinds to finish a texture. There's still obviously some nuances that I need to do to just really upgrade the user experience. This is messed up. This is going to be a 3D preview both for blocks, items, and then also a tiling sprite view. So yeah, users can favorite them all. If you want to keep these textures, what you can do is favorite them, and you can also share it to the community showcase. But you come to your my textures over here, that takes you to the community showcase. So we need to fix that. You come over to your dashboard. Please work, brother. Let's reload the site. Guys, we have bugs. This is like 5 days in. What you can do is you can see your favorited textures. You can download them. You can upload them to the showcase from here. You can delete them, share a bunch at once. You should be able to rename them, stuff like that, download them. It's just going to be a really nice way to just go through and see all the textures you generated. If you need to upgrade tiers or buy credits, I'm trying to make it really simple to do that. Basically what happened was everything was functional until I tried to do some cores, heading, or whatever security measures. And once I had to do that, buttons and things like that, their functionality just starts tanking. And so I'm gonna have to start going through and making sure those are fixed. So let's dive in and start iterating. Maybe we're getting a ton of issues here. We'll feed this in, see what it says. Maybe there's some large overarching issue we can find. So I'll give you some history on my coding experience and background while this is generating. I did a little bit of very basic coding in high school. Didn't code much, and then up until about 10 months ago or so, I made my first website called Head Stealer, and it lets you just like steal Minecraft heads and download them. It'll bring it right here. So if you're like an editor or something, this could be useful for you. Anyways, you can also add a bunch of usernames and download multiple heads at once. I did it because I'm an editor. I have amassed millions of views on YouTube. This is just my secret channel, so don't tell anyone. And so I kind of know the YouTube scene, but I don't really know the development scene so far. When it comes to like marketing specifically for products or developing products and coding, I am now recently stepping into that scene and trying to learn. And so yeah, a bit interesting. But for the past 8 months or so, I've been using Replit, Cursor, Windsurfer, Lovable, Bolt, and just really diving and keeping up with the AI scene and AI IDE scene. And it's been super fun to follow. I remember I first built Head Stealer by typing in a chat GPT, having it build HTML code, troubleshooting by copying and pasting into, the online sandbox and back and forth, and finally built that website. And I was like, man, this would be perfect if we could just have it all in one place. This has to be possible. And next thing you know, you see things like Replit and Lovable coming out. And I really think Windsurfer and Cursor, there's a few minute upgrades that they could take from Lovable, specifically actually Replit, to be honest. I'm a fan of Replit. And it would really enhance the user experience on their apps. Also, I hate the Windsurfer update logo. It's like a blurry version of CapCut. Anyways, let's go ahead and just debug one at a time. I'm gonna generate an item, ancient item. I really want to focus on getting this texture generator fully functional. I don't want users to feel like they're wasting money sometimes if they don't properly extract the items. So we really need to nail that down above everything else. The good thing about this is as image gen progresses, so will this. And as it better understands prompting, hopefully it will get better as we have more control over the image gen. The only thing I'm worried about is I could see this business potentially becoming obsolete very quickly at the rate at which everything's developing. Which is why I really like that bit of information that Windsurfer guy said is like, hey, like you got to really iterate your product. I also want to do a bunch of other products not related to Minecraft. So hopefully those can take off too. But here you can see a little bit better some generation we have here. And ultimately what this is a product of is not the best initial generation, I can tell. I think we need to update our texture extraction maybe just a little bit or potential prompting because we're getting borders, which is still showing up right here, but it's fine because that's why you have this erasing tool, you know. But ultimately we want to streamline this process, so we don't want users to have to go in and erase all the time. At least you got one texture, which is still like, if you're a Minecraft mod developer, even implementing one item is going to take you so long. So the fact that you can just at least generate a texture like this is super nice, you know. And you could at least create a bunch of variants. So I could say like, you know, make me an ancient book item, and what that would do is all these would be variants of an item of an ancient book. And so I would have like a higher chance of that item actually being something I would use because it generated multiple variants. But this is sick. Look, we have a lamp right here. So if we just went through and clean that up, I think I want to actually work on the texture experience because there's some errors that is slowing down this process. So let's go ahead and save this though, because I like this, and let's share it. And free license. Can we name it? Let's name it Magic Lamp. Boom. So now we can share it. Magic Lamp. Oh, and it's not updating with our newly edited texture, so we're gonna have to solve that. So we got a few bugs we need to solve. Let's just tackle them one by one. First off, we're gonna start with the eraser. I want the user to be able to click and hold and drag the eraser. Okay, let's just leave it at that because I've learned, although I don't know if it's probably more expensive to do it this way or what, but really tackling these problems one by one, and it also kind of depends on the problem and where you're at in your code, but one by one is generally the better way to get safer results. And when you're leaning towards a more polished product, you want to get safer results. You don't want to, you know, do some sort of core security update and break everything. All right, so here we have just finished updating the eraser tool. Let's check it out. We're going to go to the studio, click on our favorite textures, and let's see, we got these right here. So can we drag and erase? We can. Perfect. So we solved that. It's working. Awesome. So it went ahead and it fixed the eraser tool, and it also actually did the same fix for the draw tool, which we didn't ask for, which can be dangerous in certain cases. Okay, so we got a problem. Okay, I found the issue in the handle pixel click function. Great. It troubleshoots very well, which is why I like Replit. So once we finalize this editor user experience and it just feels great, it feels smooth, then we'll go on to the preview debugging. Make sure that the preview is not too zoomed in, that we can swap between block, view, and tileable mode. I feel like a cool little toggle switch would be nice. Right now we do have these different preview modes, and I don't quite see the function of them too much. So we need to kind of get rid of these and swap them out. Or maybe we can just repurpose them. Okay, so before I was having an issue with the move tool, but it looks like it properly created the D-pad. And I hate textures like this that are off-centered no matter where you move them, but that is just the case sometimes. We also need to make sure that the preview is being updated with our edited texture, as well as our favorites and anything we post to the showcase. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do while I develop this app. And so you just sort of go and ask it to build you features and begin solving problems right away, because there will be problems. But it always gets us so close, which is really nice. And eventually we have this polished product, hopefully, that will make us $100,000 a month. Because that's the goal, $100,000 a month. Then we become millionaires. We enjoy life. We are a good person, and we just live. Okay, it looks like it fixed the undo issue we were having, hopefully, and no, it didn't. So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're either a developer yourself or someone who is potentially getting into all this AI coding stuff, which is super cool. And if you, or you're maybe just someone interested in the Minecraft modding space, which if that's the case, awesome. Whatever it is, but I'm curious what it is. Are you someone who is starting their own journey, trying to make their own income via an online product? Are you someone who's already doing that? Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious. And if you think this is something that's cool, let me know. If this is something you would use, let me know. I would love to hear your feedback, as I'm just some guy out in the world building this product. I don't know if anybody wants it, or if it's a good idea, or if, you know, I don't know. So let me know. The reason why I created Bloxal in the first place was because I am someone who has literally been there since the development of Minecraft modding even became a thing. And now that I've gotten into Minecraft modding myself and have been making my own mods, I can see just how useful a tool like this would be to save not only me time, but hundreds of dollars as well. I mean, I've already used Fiverr before to hire artists to create me skins, and then I have to deal with them not communicating well, or them not even delivering on the product I asked for. Something like this that can literally save me hundreds of dollars, save me so much time and effort, and all I need is maybe some imagination and the ability to type in right here. I think it's going to be great, and I'm really excited to try and converge the two, to be able to use this to actually straight up just type in, hey, I want this bronze axe to be put into my Minecraft mod, and just have the agent go and do that for you and launch your game. I feel like that is a future that is so tangible. I'm going to try and make it a reality, you guys. So hopefully you guys stick along this journey and you enjoy learning all the ups and downs with me of how to make something like this actually become a reality. But here it says it created the fix for the undo functionality. Let's go ahead and test. We're gonna click and nothing happened. So now I'm starting to get worried, because okay, so now we're getting way more specific with the problem, and this is kind of how I've learned to approach vibe coding. Is initially you're like, bro, this isn't working, and you hope like 80% of the time Replit's like, all right, man, I got you. And he goes in there and he solves everything for you. And you're like, yay, this is great. Now do this. But there is some times where like you're 16 prompts in of saying, bro, this isn't working, dude, please, man, I'm getting frustrated. And you're like, okay, I need to kind of sit up, kind of, you know, take a look at really how to explain this issue as detailed as possible. That usually can get you to the other side of the problem, and you realize you should have just done that in the first place and not have been a lazy vibe coder. But then again, you know, we got coffee, we got vibes, we got replit agents, we got windsurfer agents. So, you know, it's a good time regardless. Anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm drawing. Nothing. It only works if I click on the editor first. Yep. Okay, so now it's going to simplify its approach to history management. So this is where one of two things can happen. It goes in there and it is like, this is way too complicated. There's a bunch of code here. It's too complicated. Let's simplify it, fix it, and it does just that. Or, which can happen, you got to be careful of, is it goes in there, it deletes a bunch of stuff, makes a really simplified version, and now you're losing out on some of the functionality or aspects that you were wanting, trying to develop this innovative product. So for example, when I'm first building the editor and telling it to implement an editor into my website, obviously I want something that's advanced. I want something that's going to feel like this is hype, like there's nothing like this before. Maybe it's a newly released API or something you can download and install into your editor. Well, then if it starts running into some errors, sometimes it just quits and it goes, I need a simpler version of this. And so it'll then go in and it'll find, like, instead of like a Photoshop, it'll go in and it'll do like a Windows Paint, and now you're losing out on that innovative feeling, but you're obviously solving some functionality, but you're missing out on the point. So what I'm saying is you got to be careful when it starts doing things like that. Get ready to roll back. And what I would actually do is, okay, it tried to fix this thing not 1 but 2 but 3 times, and it still hasn't fixed it. Now we might start getting into territory where it duplicated code. It created a whole extra texture editor, or it created a whole different undo and redo file, but it still has the other undo and redo file. And so now they're clashing with each other, and the code's getting confused, and it's getting confused when it goes to try and, fix things. And sometimes these issues can arise in the future when you can't just roll back right away. So when I start doing 3-4 prompts and it's not solving the issue, I tend to roll back all the way to the very first time I tried to have it solve that problem. And then I'll try and get detailed in the problem and phrase the prompting differently. So that's kind of a little sauce, little tip for you. Okay, it looks like it's almost done fixing the undo and redo buttons. Something interesting and funny that happened to me yesterday that you guys need to be careful of is a lot of times when you're, it's a perfect example of what I just said, is when you start to have it fix problems too much. Like, for example, it won't let me log in as an admin even though the password's correct. Or hey, set up this email. It's not working. Set up this email. Well, now if it keeps trying to solve that same problem the advanced way, a lot of times what I just said is it'll go and try and revert and find that simple solution, robust solution. And next thing you know, I don't know if I used robust right, janky solution. Next thing you know, you'll have something where your credentials are hard coded into the front end, or your admin password is now admin 123 or password 123 hard coded into the login. And so that's why, like, you got to really be careful to just keep saying, bro, fix it, bro, fix it. Be really careful in between sips of coffee. So this thing is taken forever. It's moments like these where I would go in and I would start trying to multitask, learn other parts of my business. I have some ideas for marketing. I've been kind of trying to learn that while I learn developing. And so some ideas I've come up with so far specifically related to Bloxal, but you might be able to apply this to your app. But because this is an AI texture generator and theoretically we can generate anything, I think it would be really cool to do some videos where we use it to generate maybe trending items, blocks out in the real world. So from like a movie or whatever it is. And then we generate those using this texture generator and actually implement them and make a video on it, as this being a part of that process to streamline it. And I think that could be a really good way to stay up to date with trends while also using and promoting our Bloxal tool right here. So that could be one way. Another way I actually thought could be good to convert users to become at least free users is offer texture packs. So for example, a set of magic textures free to use if they sign up, or a free of block textures free to use if they sign up, and different things like that to actually offer some sort of, because I don't know if I can afford to give out free prompt credits because it's actually quite expensive to generate these images each time, unless I were to maybe lower the quality. But still, it's like I'm fronting all of this right now, so at least at the very start I don't want to be fronting too much money until I know this is something that's profitable. Right now the way it's set up is it'll only save the textures you generate if you favorite them. And as you can see here, actually, as we just went to do that, Replit's noticing a bunch of duplicate hooks in the texture studio. So I've tried to fix things in the texture studio before, and that's probably when it went in and was like creating duplicates and forgetting to clean up the code. And I think that's something that Replit could improve on. Okay, let's go to my dashboard. Yes, my textures. So the only textures that it shows in my generated textures are the ones you favorite during the generation process. And the reason I did that is because it can generate a lot of textures. It's not perfect yet. And so I feel like if users just wanted to select the items they really want, they can, and that's good enough for now. That being said, that means we're potentially losing out on, and if this scales, hundreds of textures are just being thrown away And, you know, people are paying to create those textures. Why not? And we're using resources to create them. Why not find a recycling function for those textures? And obviously we could just spit them out into the universe on our showcase page. But if they're not always potentially quality textures, then I don't think that's a good idea. So what I'm thought of a good idea could be is to maybe create an automated recycling system that takes textures the user generated but didn't favorite, and obviously set this in the terms and service and whatnot. Allow admins to go in and create bundle packs and sift through the bad textures and find the good ones, maybe edit them, give those away as like free bundle packs as offers, or who knows what I could do with those, what we could do with those. But I feel like there is a potential waste there that could be optimized into a useful case. It looks like it successfully updated the texture studio. I'll be the judge of that. Looks like we already have some errors going on right here, so that's really great. We most certainly do, my brother. Coffee's almost gone, which means my happiness is nearing its plateau, and still nothing. So now I'm just going to continue explaining this issue. I'm getting close to rolling back and refactoring, and if it doesn't solve it this time, that's probably what I'm going to do. It's a very weird problem to have, but generally storing states and undo is like something that's always been an issue, a little bit more difficult for AI to solve. I'm not a huge fan of the way this UI pops open, but you can't have it all, ladies and gentlemen. We need a MVP out ASAP.